Bitcoin's alive, what you gon' do? Mempool fees are high. Ordinal. Where does it stop? Nobody knows. It's a revolution, ayy. Bitcoin is the one, no substitution, ayy. With Shizzy and Yagobi, it's Ordinal Revolution.
Yeah, man. So without further ado, let's bring in Jake. Jake, welcome back to Ordinal Revolution.
Yeah, what's up? What's good, gents? Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever everyone celebrates. How was your festivities over the week?
It was good. It was
Good,
good.
man.
It was just,
Yeah.
really relaxing with the family and stuff like that.
Good. It's important to touch grass and get some presents, right? It's sometimes it's tough to leave the screen even when it's the holidays.
Well, all my grass is dead. There's no grass outside right now. It would take me forever to go find some. It's 20 degrees right now. And there's nothing on the trees. There's nothing on the grass. It's very cold. But
man, I'm good. Glad to hear that. Ready to be back. I have to say this last week was my first week off of the show, I think, this entire year. So, I'm sure you guys know, as somebody who hosts shows literally every day or pretty much 5 days a week, that even taking a few days off feels like something's missing.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like we were off Tuesday and Wednesday, and like yesterday, like halfway through the day, like after the presents stuff, I'm sitting on the couch, and I was like, I don't know what to do with myself. Like, do I play video games? Like, I just didn't know. I didn't know what to do with myself. It was so weird. But yeah.
Well, glad to be back.
Yeah, man.
Yep. Obviously Emblem Vault is a major player in the Bitcoin ecosystem, kind of establishing itself as this new, in my opinion, is going to be the number one tool to be able to, move your Bitcoin layer 1 assets to different chains and stuff like that. But also there's a couple other things that are going on besides the jump action that you guys are going to have with Lit Protocol. One of them is the AI wallets, which we'll get into later. But the other one is the emblem keys and the vaulting and, being able to take the necessary steps to be able to transition from your Coval to, this new way of doing it. And so that's what we're going to start off with, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I would love to talk about, we could go through the Coval kind of numbers, which I'll share here in a second, and then also some key strategies. We've heard a decent amount of feedback over the last 3 weeks or so since we revealed kind of what the plans were moving forward. And I would say it was all quite positive. There's 3 different kind of main programs that we have heading into next year in ways that you can either purchase keys, be rewarded keys, or kind of earn keys. And also Emblem's just a unique technology. So it takes a handful of, educational kind of hurdles to overcome, which is, why I'm excited that Emblem and Ordinal Revolution could partner together, because I think it's pretty cohesive opportunity there. For Coval, for those that aren't familiar, I'll just kind of run through kind of the what's really happening here. So Emblem Koval originally started on Counterparty in 2016 as Coval C, and then it migrated to Ethereum in 2019 after kind of the Bitcoin community was a little bit aggressive towards builders, and now we have this opportunity to return home to Bitcoin. So in this process, we have a token called Coval, which is almost pretty much close to dead at this point. Unfortunately, because we had to take some very tough decisions last year of basically pausing the entire system and rebuilding Emblem from the ground up, which obviously caused the token to pretty much slide 90% or so. And so now with Coval, it's an ERC20 token, and you can't directly airdrop a Bitcoin token to an Ethereum address. So we created this migration process that also coincides with some other things that we're doing, to where we release something called a time lock vault, which is essentially just a time locked NFT with a Bitcoin wallet inside. So users will take their Coval, put it inside of this vault, and it'll be time locked until October of next year. It's actually Bitcoin block 920,000. And then once that opens, we're going to airdrop the keys in there, which is the rune. And then users will just accept the rune there with the private key. So As of today, we've seen about, I think close to, I'm looking at the numbers real quick. 450 vaults have been made. We'll have specific numbers some point next year. Across about 50 different people. If you go on OpenSea and you type in Coval time locks, you can actually see the collection. With one caveat, we haven't put the new artwork up yet. So it's just kind of a general image there, and we have to add traits. So it will look a lot more pretty per se here coming next year. Just Emblem's a small team, right? We have one full-time dev and we have 2 devs that we just hired this month who are still kind of training. So we got everything functional and working, and then we're going to come back and pretty much beautify it in the next few weeks after we have our AI agent live here in the next few weeks, and then a few other things, which maybe we'll talk about after.
Awesome. Yeah. This is exciting because obviously for our community that's familiar, with the Bitcoin ecosystem, you guys are going to have a rune. And I think this is very unique the way that you guys are doing it. And it works out for the Coval holders, right? Like, so there's these, actually, you don't even have to be a Coval original holder. You can go buy Coval and take this approach. So it's almost a strategy in terms of if you do the math and if it makes sense. But let's say that I am a Coval holder and I'm ready to create the vault. So if you could, Shizzy, do you want to actually do it? If you could guide Shizzy maybe with a step-by-step on what to do here, that'd be great.
Yep. Yeah. So we created 3 different amounts that you can vault. So you can vault in amounts of 5,000 Coval, 50,000 Coval, and 500,000 Coval. And the reason why we did this is kind of multiple reasons. One of them is that when you lock these ERC20s, you get an NFT, right? So something similar to kind of like a 404. That NFT actually has utility. So that utility is a vault discount. So the top number. So if you lock 500,000 Coval, you get an NFT that gives you 60% vaulting fee discount. So it comes out to about $8 a vault. We've actually seen hundreds of vaults being created since this discount was created from our power users. Obviously, on top of that, you also get the airdrop with it. So what you're going to do here is you're already on the collections page. You're just going to scroll down a little bit, and you're going to go click on the select curated collection, and then it's going to say, scroll down a little bit, it'll be Coval time locks, Coval, time lock. And you just go and hit create vault. And it's gonna take a second to load. On the back end, what it's doing is just from a technical standpoint, is doing something called a MPC, multi-party computation, and a DKG, which is a distributed key generation. So it's actually creating a Bitcoin wallet or an Ethereum wallet on the back end and a Bitcoin wallet. So this is your vault. This is called the created stage. You're gonna scroll down, and you're going to be presented with an ETH address. So click on the ETH address where it says ETH. Click on ETH.
Okay, click it itself. Okay.
Yeah, just click on that, and you're just going to copy the address. You actually have to do Control-C for right now. So just copy it. Our devs have to fix that.
If you double, there you go.
Yeah, and then you're just going to go open up your MetaMask, and you're going to send either a very specific amount of 5,000, 50,000, or 500,000 Coval.
It's showing my Coval down here, but it's not showing me in the wallet.
Interesting. Yeah, it looks like our front end is reading that. Did it send?
So it should
send it up.
Yeah.
So still let me send, right?
Oh, it might be in a different wallet. Is possible. Look at the. See where you're
saying. I have it.
Oh.
Yeah.
But
if it says you have it, you should. Yeah. So he has to do a certain amount though.
Just 500,000 you're going to send. Yeah. So we'll do the top amount. I think comes out to like $1,000 or so.
Yeah.
Yep. So then you just send that specific amount into the vault, and then within 30 seconds or 60, however long it takes the Ethereum block to clear, then you literally will just hit mint and you'll be done. That'll be the process.
Let me send for some reason.
Maybe refresh the page, because that's happened to me before.
It's possible.
Yeah, with MetaMask, where I just had to close MetaMask and reopen it. So maybe go through those steps again.
Address still the same.
Yeah, I also have a thread out as well, which we can even share. Let's see, is that even? Yeah, it is the right wallet. Looks like it might be possible. It could be a MetaMask issue. What's happening?
It's definitely saying it right here. So if I go in here and I type in 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, there you go.
And now it's going to let me.
There you go. Then hit continue.
Okay,
Yep. So this is just a basic process on how to vault something.
Yeah.
So once it's done pending, then you'll just go down and hit the refresh button. We actually are in process of building something that's called a bulk mint tool, where this process is actually much more simplified. It's all on one screen, takes about 3 clicks to do anything, and you can mint up to 25 vaults in a single transaction. Our front end dev is still in the process. I've put some teasers out about it, and hopefully once that's live, that will simplify it, because once we launch our vaulting program, the points program in Q1 next year, we want people to mint as many vaults as possible and to basically simplify the process, make it very, very easy.
So what's the next step here? Do I just go to vaults?
No, you just check to see if on MetaMask if the transaction is cleared.
Yeah, it's clear. Set confirmed.
Cool. So then scroll down, and then just hit the refresh button. It's across from balances, non-balances. You could do it like that, I guess.
Oh, I could have hit it down there. Okay.
There's literally, there's a refresh button inside. See?
All right.
So then that pops up. That shows that there is now a balance of 500,000. It should say Coval. It says ETH at the bottom. It should say Coval.
Yeah.
So scroll. Yeah, right. You're rich now. Now scroll up to the top, and there will be a mint button. Yep. See, it says UC phrase mint. Yep. And then you just mint the vault. And so there will be 2 transactions. One is generally a GASA signature, which is the first one that's requesting our servers to mint the vault. And then you'll have a gas transaction. And so you hit confirm there. And now it says that your vault is minting. And there's no vaulting fee, so we haven't put any vaulting fees on this because we're aware that users. Oh, I see on my screen that you have in fact minted the vault. So
nice.
See, it says loading has successfully minted. So once that's done, the screen will close out, and then you can just hit refresh, and you'll see that
down here again.
Now you can just refresh the screen.
Okay.
I do see from my end in our Discord, it shows that all the vaults have been minted. So I do see that it has been minted. See, and so now you see that where it says marketplaces and loans and stuff, that shows that it's been minted. We do have to fix those links again. I do apologize for being half kind of broken, but if you go to OpenSea and type in Coval time locks, or even if you go to your or even if you go to your wallet, you'll see it there. So Coval, just COVAL. Coval.
AL.
Yeah, AL. And then time lock. It should be like one of the first ones to come up. COVAL.
Exactly.
AL.
COVAL.
Okay.
See, it's the first one right there.
Time locks. There it is. Yep.
And so you'll see all of them. Again, we still have to add traits and change the images and stuff. We do have 3 different images for the different representations. If for some people, sometimes you have to refresh on OpenSea, the metadata. Because Emblem Vault is such a unique product, sometimes the way that Emblem Vault interacts with OpenSea has refreshing issues. So sometimes you actually have to go in on the actual asset page and refresh. But it looks good, and you can see there is 415 vaults that have been minted, and there's about 45 owners, it looks like. And I suspect that this will increase slowly over time, and then probably, once you get into Q2, Q3 of next year, this should increase quite dramatically. If not, then whoever participates in this is going to receive a pretty sizable airdrop. So we've allocated 15% of the total key supply, so 1.5 billion keys, to the people who participate in this program, right? So if you only have 45 people participating with 15%, then they're going to get probably a few percentages, few basis points each. But we'll see here. The cool part now is that since you have that NFT, whenever you go mint any other vault, the discount's already automatically applied. So it'll be $8 vaulting fee for anybody. This will be for anybody who wants to mint any vault. So as we expand to things like Merlin, right, or Base, or wherever it is, to Solana, you can then, it'll be $8 per vault. And then that will actually apply to our vaulting program, which we're going to launch towards the end of Q1, where users will, earn points to participate in jumping to other chains, right, or doing whatever type of partnerships are enabled, or trading on Emblem markets, and etc. And one of the interesting game theory here, which we'll see if it's actually played in the Coval time locks. I think in the founder vaults it'll be more, is that as we airdrop keys into these vaults, I'm interested to see if the Coval vaults trade on the open market, right? The game theory here is that, as Emblem expands and applies more value to, what the potentials of keys can become, and we reveal, later next year, what are some utility that we want to use keys for, right? Then the value of keys increase, which therefore then more people want to participate in the migration, which then therefore means that since there's Coval taken off the market, that the value of Coval should increase, right? And so you could kind of see this like positive flywheel. But again, it's something that, you can only speculate on an outcome, which we would hope to see that happen. And in real time, it's kind of still far away, 10 months or so to really like receive the keys. But we suspect over time, some point next year, that something like that could come into effect.
Yeah, I want to break down what just kind of happened here with this. So where can I go buy Coval? Is it Uniswap?
Uniswap, you can buy it on Uniswap right now.
So I take Ethereum, 1,000 worth of Ethereum, lock or what's the smallest amount?
5,000.
5,000. Okay, so I take enough to get the 5,000. Let's just say I do exactly what we just did here. I lock it in the Coval vault. I get that minted out to me, and I can see that in my wallet, and I can see that on OpenSea. And then I'm getting airdropped these emblem keys, right? That are all also vaulted, correct?
Yeah, it'll be airdropped in the vault. So inside of that vault, you know how you copy that ETH address in there? So if you scroll down, there's an ETH address. There's actually a Bitcoin deposit address in there. We just haven't shown it yet because there are, manipulators and people who will airdrop things into vaults trying to trick users that there's an asset inside to get them to unlock the vault. And then they'll kind of like DM them on the side to get them to share the private keys. Like we've seen all kinds of different ways that scammers will try to manipulate people. So for the time being, the Bitcoin wallet is actually just not shown. It is inside of the vault, but we just put that there just to cause less or to substantiate some of the confusion while people earn. But there's actually multiple wallet addresses inside these vaults.
Awesome.
And so we'll basically, to explain it, we'll just airdrop all of the, once we close off Coval minting towards the end of summer next year, we will then do the calculation of how many, what vaults receives what adequate amount of Bitcoin keys. And then we'll just airdrop them into the vaults so that when you unlock the vault, you'll have the Coval there, but we're going to be sunsetting it. But then you'll also have Bitcoin keys that'll be tied to a seed phrase, which then you just import it to whatever wallet that you'd like. And, it'll be said and done. Actually, this is, we're actually kind of building right now, and hopeful that this can be implemented, a PSBT implementation to where you could basically just sweep the keys into a wallet address without even having to import the private key. So right now it is quite tedious, right? Where you have, if you have 50 vaults, you have 50 different private keys that you have to basically import. But if we have this PSBT feature enabled, which maybe we'll talk about here in a second, you could basically just send it directly to an Xverse wallet and not have to deal with that process, which that's part of the Emblem 2.0 system. And these Coval time lock vaults are actually the first 2.0 vaults using lit protocol. So what you use actually is lit protocol.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's say that I want to vault a puppet from Bitcoin to Merlin later down the road. Would the process be similar to what we just went through?
Yep. Yeah. Same exact process. Should be quite simple. And the goal is to have the PSBT feature enabled so that you don't have to actually wait on, the 6 confirmations. This is like for counterparty right now. Since there's no PSBTs in counterparty assets, when you send something to a vol, you actually have to wait the 6 confirmations, which could,
Gotcha.
which could be 10 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever the case is. But
Yep.
once we have this PSBT feature enabled, it would be just like sending a Bitcoin puppet to any wallet to where it displays pretty much immediately.
Will
Yeah.
you guys have something here eventually too? Because like sending it to that wallet is always scary. It's making sure
Yeah.
you have the same wallet address. Will you guys have something where I can click it, pick my puppet, and then send? Is that
Yeah.
something you guys may be working on? Okay.
Yeah. We call it the bulk minting interface. It's actually more of like a simple mint interface. That's what we're working on. So Bunzi is actually our front end developer, which a lot of people are familiar with, and he's done a lot of good work in the space. And once we have this interface live, we're going to be adding a lot more. I guess you could say animations and kind of action items on the space to show, loading and like that things have been received, safely, and, check boxes and different things like that. It is pretty close to being done. We had a call with him last week, and so we're reconvening next week. Hopefully to have that live. The goal was to have it live by the end of the year. Unfortunately, with development, sometimes it doesn't, land the way that you want to, but the goal is to have it literally out as soon as possible so that this will be even more of a simple process.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think a lot of people are excited about this, but like, so when I vault my puppet, let's just say as of right now, the standard process would be 6 blocks on the 6 Bitcoin blocks.
No, 6 confirmations. So sometimes
Six.
could be standard Bitcoin transaction is 6 confirmations. Those confirmations could come all in one block, or those confirmations could come in separate blocks.
Gotcha. So 6 confirmations. And then at that point, let's say I want to send it over to Merlin, it would only take 1 gas fee on the Merlin side, right?
Yeah. So you're paying the gas fee to what chain you're minting to.
Gotcha.
So if you're minting to Solana, you're paying the Solana fee. If you're minting to Merlin, you're paying the Merlin gas fee. One of our goals is to get the majority of vaulting activity to these L2s or to Solana, to these like low gas environments, because right now, I would say probably 80 to 90% of our vault activity are mostly rare Pepe participants. But I don't know if people are aware of this, but through rare Pepe alone, Emblem has minted 75 millionaires. And then on top of that, there's, I think, over 300 wallets that have made over 6 figures using Emblem Vault. And the majority of those are rare Pepe people. So these are generally individuals who've made, an absorbent amount of money. So they can pay, $8. Now it's $8 for a vaulting fee plus $20 gas fees because they've been around it for a long time. But for the majority of people who are just entering the Emblem ecosystem, this is not the case where they've been around for many years making, a lot of money. So the goal is to get these to these low gas environments so that people can participate in moving these assets cross chain, also to the ecosystem that they want, whether they want to, farm their puppet on Blast, right? Or if they want to, lend against it on Merlin, or if they want to take it to Solana for, AI kind of, interactions or whatever kind of the yield opportunity is that they envision. So that's really the goal.
That's awesome. I think there's going to be a lot of use for this, once you guys allow the minting, once it goes live and stuff, because, first of all, the rare Pepe aspect of it, this is going to bring more introduction to that whole collection and asset class, really, with counterparty stuff. And like, my question is like, why isn't counterparty assets like rare Pepe like on Magic Eden? Like, why is it not like mass adopted? I know it's on OpenSea, but why do you think it's not like the popular, like Ordinals is kind of mass adopted on more than Rare Pepes, but they've been out for way longer.
Yeah, counterparty, right? Counterparty is kind of the first meta protocol or second meta protocol on Bitcoin. You had Mastercoin, or maybe third. I guess you had colored coins in 2012, then you had Mastercoin in 2013, and then you had Counterparty in 2014. And the original developers of Counterparty left after a year of development, and they just actually returned recently. And they got some funding and things like that. And a recent Counterparty update that they just pushed is enabling PSBTs, where you essentially take the counterparty token and you can attach it to a PSBT, because a counterparty is more of like an account-based system than it is a UTXO system. So think of it kind of like a BRC20 type system. There's no transfer inscription stuff, but just think of it that way. So because you have an account model, you can take the token itself and attach it to something else underneath. And for a while, people are using Emblem Vault, right? Essentially, you're just taking the counterparty token and attaching it to a wallet. I'm just simplifying the explanation here. But now with these new upgrades, you can attach it to a PSBT. What we're seeing, though, is that even with this new update, the vault activity is actually increased rather than decreased from the ability to trade these natively. And I think it has to do with a few reasons. One is that the liquidity profile on Ethereum is just much higher than, trading these natively. Also, with counterparty assets and also ordinals, when you're trading inside of a vault, there's no chance to be front run, right? Because the UTXO is not in the mempool. What you're trading is a private key on the other chain. So you eliminate the possibility to be sniped. And I think a lot of people like that. And then just simple kind of infrastructure where there's no kind of bidding system that exists for Bitcoin native assets right now. I mean, you have it for ordinals, but it's not to the degree that you'll have of Rare Pepe, because they're semi-fungible tokens, right? So you can't just throw out one universal bid for 1,774 unique assets, or in this case, 1,669 that have been vaulted across 25,000, unique assets there. And what I've learned and what we've seen is that the market behavior has chosen that Emblem Vault is going to be the way moving forward. And so you'll get probably some high value assets that move natively. And we actually encourage, people to trade whichever way you find more preferable for whatever the reason is. But it's going to be really hard that people have been vaulting, Rare Pepes for 3 years at this point to really kind of change that behavior. So the goal is to just expand Rare Pepe to as many chains as possible, so that users can, leverage MemeFi, which has kind of been in the talks of the Rare Pepe community for a long time, and seeing, really kind of growing that out, because Rare Pepe it's generally somewhere around the third or fourth most valuable NFT collection. If you go to pepe.wtf, at the very top of that website, it'll tell you the market cap of Rare Pepe, and it generally is somewhere between 300 million and 500 million continuously. And so with a collection that large of 1,774 unique cards times by, and click on Rare Pepe right next to top left.
Right.
Yeah, just click there. Okay. And then right at the top, you'll see there's the last sale market cap, and then you have the floor valuation. The last sale market cap is generally is closer to what the real market cap is.
$460 million?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
and
insane.
And then the floor valuation. So there's 1,774 unique cards, but each card has a different supply. So you can even evaluate it by the market cap if you see there on the charts. So like, for example, Emblem Vault, the most valuable, not the most valuable, but the most known one is the Nakamoto card, right? Mm-hmm. That's the first card. Yeah. It's a 300 supply, and the most recent sale was for I'm equating it to Bitcoin, was about 2.1 Bitcoin. It was like 55 ETH sale. So they're selling for, a little over 200,000, and Emblem has almost 100 of them vaulted. So that's like 20 million in TVL just from, you know, this one NFT within the entire collection. So, you know, Rare Pepe community and Emblem Vault have this synonymous relationship. We, you know, Emblem Vault and Rare Pepe, I could say pretty confidently, would not be both where they are today without each other. And it was at a time where, you know, Emblem found product market fit through Rare Pepe, and then Rare Pepe found awareness and expansion through Emblem Vault. And, you know, the number for Emblem is, and this is somewhat why I find why some people may find keys attractive, is the number for Emblem is we have an almost 90% retention rate for vaulted assets.
Wow.
So it means 9 in 10 assets that make it into Emblem never leave the ecosystem. So you could say that if the TVL continues to grow, right, this is something that basically is somewhat of like a black hole. And as that TVL grows, right, it's going to then expand to new chains as we deploy on, you know, additional ones. And so
Yeah.
I find it highly unlikely. It's always possible that you could have this like kind of bank run system happen where people run to, you know, remove rare Pepes to, you know, hold them natively, which we encourage. But the, you know, the community has shown that they trust Emblem Vault, and you know, that it's going to load there in a second. It just takes a second to load.
Well, I'd argue. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, good.
I was gonna say I'd argue that like you know, use the same blueprint for ordinals to give more exposure, you know, to other chains, especially if this is going to be 2025. It's going to be like the blueprint year of Emblem, you know, branding on all these chains. It solves the issue of exposure with the limitations of Bitcoin, right? So,
yep, yeah, we're so maybe a little alpha. So we're in conversations with. We've announced that we're in the Merlin grant program and the Arbitrum one, and we have about 3 or 4 other ones that we haven't announced yet because we're forming around co-marketing strategies and incentive systems. And there's a few of these L2s that are across Ethereum and Bitcoin are very interested in bringing ordinals to their ecosystem, like very, very interested. And so what I suspect is if Emblem can execute properly on our vision, you're going to see eventually some sort of like incentivization war happen where a lot of these different L2s are then competing, you know, for your ordinals or for your Bitcoin assets, for your CryptoPunks, et cetera, because it is so simple to literally just one click move this asset from Merlin, you know, to Base, to Ape Chain, to Abstract, to, you know, Azuki Chain, I think it's called the Anime Chain, to whatever it is. And the way that they're going to compete with that is that they're going to have to offer lower rates, right? So they're going to have to offer lower marketplace fees, because why would I trade on, you know, Ape Chain if the marketplace fee is 2% when I could go trade on, you know, Optimism for 0% because they have a marketplace, right? Or, right. And then why would I keep my Bitcoin puppet on blast when the farming, you know, opportunity has dissipated, and now there's a new farming opportunity on Abstract, right? Or Merlin, or whatever chain kind of, or Solana, or right, whatever it is. Or if I want to lend, why would I lend, you know, natively on Bitcoin when, you know, there's 10 times the liquidity profile on, you know, Arcade or Gandhi, which is where a lot of the rare Pepes have now moved to, is a website called Gandhi to lend against. So it's really kind of exciting to think about, you know, what can happen once this infrastructure is really built out. And we're almost, I'd say we're probably about a month and a half away from having the new EVM system completely built out and deployed. And we have 2 launch partners that, maybe 3 launch partners that will be the first ones through the door. But once we have this EVM system laid out and built, then it takes us probably about, you know, an hour to deploy to a new EVM chain, which makes it very simple. So it's more just plug and play at that point. And then in quarter 2 and quarter 3, the goal is to, you know, then start deploying on Solana, which we've built, and then figuring out how to deploy on Bitcoin, which we have about a rudimentary kind of 25% of that built out. to then see, is there even a market to bring things like CryptoPunks to Bitcoin, right? Or to bring your Bitcoin puppets to Dogecoin as a Doginal, right? Or to bring your tap assets to Fractal for, XYZ reason, right? Or to bring your ordinals to tap, right? Like that's kind of a under, I guess less spoken kind of opportunity there. And there's like a few other teams that are trying to accomplish something like this as well. And I just think it's a really exciting time to, be in the Emblem ecosystem and to kind of participate. And that keys are kind of really going to be the center of it, especially as now we have this kind of emerging product with Emblem AI that is starting to catch a lot of interest as well.
Yeah. I don't think many people know either that you guys even had a marketplace over here. I mean, I knew, but like this is 2016 and 2018. Like this is crazy. These rare Pepes over here, and they're purchasable right through Emblem Market. This is like CryptoKitty. This is punk level like earliness.
Yeah. So they're Rare Pepe is known as the collection that created the crypto art movement. There's only one collection that predates it, which is called Spells of Genesis, which we also have there as well. That's like our generally second best performing kind of collection. And Rare Pepe, it's 1,774 different cards from over 300 different artists, and then all of them have of different supplies. And Spells of Genesis came out in 2015.
Wow.
Created about so this one is 2015 to 2019, and it was a trading card game on Counterparty created by a company called Eversoft Dream, I believe the name is, by a guy named Shaban. And so you use these cards as a trading card game. And the cool thing is that a lot of these cards actually signify a different moment in time. Like you'll see there's like an ETH card, and there's like a DAO card. I think there's like a Dash card, Ripple card, right? Saratobi card. So there's a lot of like cool moments that have been kind of mystified. The Kraken card, right? That's from like the Kraken exchange.
Yeah.
Dogecoin, the bear whale. I don't know if people know that story where I think it was around the Mt. Gox time. There was a bear whale who kept pushing the price down like really hard. This is like where it's like a pretty cool kind of story.
That
And
is really dope. I like it.
The Spells of Genesis actually has a pretty devout community. The two cards that sell the highest are the FD card, which is the first card, and then the Satoshi card, which is actually Leonidas's profile picture. He has a crypto skull over it, but the Satoshi card. So if you sort by highest, you'll see the Spells of Genesis card. Actually, it's even in the profile picture, right? That's Leonidas's kind of back, right?
He put the skull, yeah. He
The
put the
skull in it.
there.
Yeah, so the
Does
FD
Leonidas own that?
he did. He sold a bunch of them recently.
Gotcha.
He might have more, but again, me and Leo came from the historical NFT community. We used to host a podcast together and stuff. So the FD card is the first Spells of Genesis card. So a lot of people buy that just because they consider it the first NFT of the first ever collection. And then there's a Satoshi card, but it doesn't look like one is listed right now, or else it would be up there.
Yeah. Well,
so
all this talk about these like counterparty, these are the first NFT collections and stuff in existence. It kind of goes back to this question that I asked you. Well, actually, I don't even know if it was a question, but a bit of historic information that you gave me was that, counterparty tokens were listed on centralized exchanges. I think you told me that, and then they had to get delisted, or they delisted them for some reason. And so it brings me to this question, and actually the topic of our show today. I wanted your input. Are ordinals and runes dead? Because let's be honest, like without the rare Pepes continued on, but like those counterparty tokens kind of seem like they died off. There's Pepe Cash and stuff still, but like, what is your answer? What's different this time than that movement before, and why should people think that ordinals and runes will only grow instead of go away?
It's a good question. I think a lot of it is time and place. We see this happen time and time again of the right idea, but it's too early for the adoption, or the developer ecosystem doesn't grow around it. And that's generally how how I identify protocols, is to see how active the developer ecosystem is. Because at the end of the day, if there's no developers, then there's nothing that's going to be built, which therefore there's no speculation, right? And kind of dwindles away. And that's what exactly happened to Counterparty. It was first, it had a big community, but the developers abandoned it, a year into it. And so from that point on, there was no updates to the protocol. Even outside of having to overcome that, the Rare Pepe community, built this decentralized art movement. But the reason why is because they couldn't do anything else, right? All you could do is do art because there was no developments that were happening to it. And so this time around now, obviously the crypto market is so much larger compared to, where it was at that time. And with the runes, if you look at kind of runes, BRC20 and TAP, I have this post that I put out a few months ago, but I look at the fungible token ecosystems and NFTs as like something that's considered to be horizontally owned or vertically owned. And what I mean by that is, is the application layer decentralized? Is it a bunch of builders, or is it one kind of central entity that's controlling it? And again, so I'll lay some examples out here, and it's not to shoot anyone down. It's just from kind of my observations. And this is what led us to, choosing runes as our fungible token standard. When you look at something like TAP, right? Or when you look at something like BRC20, TAP is basically controlled by the track team, right? It's vertically owned, where they're basically the one that's developing the protocol. They're the one that's incentivizing the builders to come in and build applications using the protocol, right? Whether they're getting tokens or they're getting co-marketing support or whatever the case is. It's the same thing with BRC20. That's basically it started out decentralized and started out in this like kind of horizontal kind of horizontally owned protocol where, the application layer is decentralized. There was no incentives for anybody outside of the outside of the kind of competitive force of the opportunity finding product market fit there. And so like with BRC20 started out horizontally owned, now it's vertically owned because Unisat basically comes out and, basically says what's going to happen to the protocol. Although I do think Best in Slot's trying to build their own BRC20 or BRC20 2.0, which I think is a separate protocol from what Unisat is building. I don't know for sure. It's still kind of hazy. But with BRC20, right, Unisat came out and they built Fractal, and now BRC20 is basically trade on Fractal, but Fractal is the one who incentivizes the application layer, right, for people to build. And it's kind of, it's open source, but it is a little bit gated socially. Whereas something like Runes, Casey came in and he basically built the code, deployed it, hasn't made any changes to it, and hasn't really like shown favoritism towards one protocol or another. Like he comments on Runes every once in a while, but it's more of like Wild Wild West, where it really feels like more of like a free market capitalistic kind of environment to where anyone could come in and the best product will win. And it's not generally just a favoritism that could kind of happen there. And so this is why we believe at Emblem that Runes is going to be the kind of winning standard. Maybe they don't capture all of the fungible market, but maybe 80% of it or so. And it's because Magic Eden's still building on it, right? You have Arch, who's now kind of, and their protocols have now begun to build on it. And you have the lending protocols, and then whatever else is kind of to be determined, where you have a million people that are a million different wallets that own all of these runes. And it's then importing that value into these different protocols versus having to build a completely new protocol or building a new protocol with a new token standard that nobody wants to use, right? They've already basically, packed their bags and they've formed communities. And the network effect of, horizontally owned protocols, it takes a little bit longer for the application layer to develop, but the social layer of it hardens really fast to where, once you have all these people who've chosen that these are their assets, then they want to go do something else versus the other way around where it's like, hey, we have all these places that you can use these assets, but nobody owns them, right? And so for my belief is that, and our belief at Emblem is that Runes is going to win out. It could take a lot longer to develop, but it's on Bitcoin. You have these kind of long block times, and then you have this more of this free market capitalistic kind of application layer that also has to play itself forward competitively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that the reason why Coinbase and Binance and some of these other centralized exchanges, well, Binance listed BRC20, but let's say Coinbase, they would maybe be more hesitant because they went through the counterparty token experience and they want more like conviction before they list, or what would you think would be hold them back?
I don't think counterparty, like the experience with counterparty, holds them back, but I do think that they probably want more market adoption before they do go ahead and lift it, because for like Coinbase, for example, they just added Taproot. They did this 2 years after Taproot, or maybe it was even 4 years. I don't remember. It was 2022
Yeah, it
or
was November 2020.
2020. So it took them almost 4 years to do that. But you have to think they have millions, if not tens of millions or hundreds of millions of Bitcoin wallets that they have to then, add this new layer of technology to it, and then building things on top of that. It just takes a lot longer.
Yeah.
That's why these like smaller centralized exchanges are quick to do it.
Yeah.
I do think that they're all going to end up adopting runes. It'll probably all happen in 25 at some point. It'll take, Kraken to come in and list, and then Binance or whoever it is. And then you'll have kind of a runaway effect there. There's no doubt in my mind that they will list them. It just comes down to more of the lift required to build these. And you also have to think that they have a credibility and standard. And if they lose people's assets, right, that's a big hit on them. And they just sometimes need a lot more clarity, or they're comfortable being kind of a late stage mover in this environment because they do feel that they have enough credibility that even if they do come later stage, that they can command a certain percentage of the market.
Yeah. Before Binance listed Ordi and Sats, I think they created their own indexer. I think OKX created their own indexer as well. That's why they're able to trade on their marketplace, outside of the exchange. Do you think Kraken is sitting there creating their own runes indexer instead of going off of Ord.io? I'm sorry, well, Ordinals.com.
It's very possible. Somebody with Kraken, where they're known for their security, they probably have to make sure that they have backups. And I'm sure Coinbase is probably doing the same thing. I mean, they can rely on it. It depends on their relationship, and then just the employees or whoever is kind of running the show to kind of see what their experience level is and the relationships that they form. But I would be surprised if they were not running their own, just because they have that. Once you get higher up into these kind of levels, the security has to be just completely unmatched, top notch.
Yeah.
You also have Kraken that's building their own L2, so who knows if there's something that they're related, or something. I think it's called Inc. So who knows if there's some relationship there as well.
Quick question about Emma Markets real quick. In the future, when you guys have your people vault puppets, they vault all kinds of crazy stuff. Who knows what can get vaulted? Pretty much anything, right? Will I be able to come here to collections and actually see what is vaulted and just buy here? And then my second question would be, can I, if I buy here and it's on ETH, let's just say the puppet's on ETH, can I buy it and then immediately send it to Merlin?
Yep. Yeah. So a few kind of points here. It's actually a really good question. So we launched Emblem Markets in July of this year. It's been a very interesting, learning experience launching your own marketplace. First, from the technology level of what it takes to actually, support it, right? How does the backend kind of work? How does Seaport work, right? What the API is required for certain things. So for a small team of 5 at the time, it was a big lift, but it was important for us to do this because one issue we ran into was, we have 60 something different collections. Instead of pointing people to individual collections on OpenSea, we could basically use this as to say, hey, here's all the collections. So Emblem Markets is an aggregator. So it picks up all the sales that are listed on OpenSea, Magic Eden, etc. Although we have 0% marketplace fee, so you can list any rare Pepe or whatever on there and pay no fees. the majority, 99% of the trading still happens on OpenSea. And this just purely comes down to, a market behavior kind of idea. And what I've learned is even if you're offering 0% fees, people are going to trade wherever they feel most comfortable. So we have to do a lot of upgrades here. And the goal is as we expand, and have success next year, you can hire more people to literally dedicate somebody just to the marketplace. Basically how it works is if we list on Merlin or wherever it is, we've built a pretty tight relationship with Reservoir, who is basically they're like the main EVM marketplace SDK that people use to build their marketplaces. As long as Merlin provides the data to them, then we can showcase for Merlin. So there has to be that relationship bonded first. They do support, I think, like 20 or 15 different L2s. So for us, once we add that collection, so like let's say Rare Pepe on Merlin, you'll be able to come see it, and it can either pop up as its own collection as the Merlin kind of collection, or our goal is really to kind of fold it all in together to where this one Rare Pepe collection shows vaults for Rare Pepe on Merlin, Rare Pepe on Solana, Rare Pepe on ETH. That's actually a very large technical lift that's never been done, but we do believe that we have a path forward to build that. It just comes down to kind of a resources thing. It's one of these things where it's like, I wish I had, $50 million in VC funding to do that, right? Or I was a little bit further down the road to where I had 3 more developers on the team. But we do have that kind of capability path forward. Shannon's kind of added an outline, as well as with the Emblem 2.0 vaults, we have the ability to be able to purchase in any type of asset as well. So you'll see, like for example, you'll see, the Pepe card, and then you'll click on it and it'll show, 5 Pepe vaults, or 5 of these, the Pepe are on Solana, 5 of these are on Merlin, 5 of these are on whatever. And then it'll probably be denominated in USD. And then you'll just click on it and say, I want to pay in Solana, or I want to pay in Bitcoin, or I want to pay in
I love it.
kind of whatever. And then the cool part there is right after you purchase it, the goal would be then for it to say, hey, do you want this vault? This vault is on Solana. Do you want it to be delivered to Ethereum, or delivered to Merlin, or delivered to Fractal, or kind of whatever the situation is? That's the kind of the goal, is to be what we call a chain agnostic marketplace, where something like Magic Eden, and this is no discredit to them, this is just kind of what we see. It's individual native experiences, right? They have a marketplace for base, for ordinals, etc. We just want one simple interface where one collection has all of the different type of vaults from all these different types of collections that can be purchasable in one or whichever cryptocurrency that you want. It's going to take a little while to get there, but this with Emblem Markets is really kind of just the start to where we'd like it to be.
Yeah, I mean, you guys could be the ultimate aggregator, chain agnostic. Just head down here, it'll be like Merlin, and then it will say, Ethereum, and then it will say Base or whatever. You guys could be that. That could be pretty nice.
And also, I wanted to say that, like, being able to like offer just, actually, my marketing psychology mind says I would want to market this as, hey, look, these live on Merlin as a vault, but this is original Pepe actual item, right? So like I definitely lean more towards the latter. You said for the options, but I know that's a heavier lift. But I think in the end, it'll probably be worth it.
Yeah, that's completely our goal here. It's right now, it just comes down to kind of a resources thing. So quarter 3 focused everything on Emblem Markets. And then this quarter, it was all on Emblem Vision. And then the Emblem AI product has started to gain some traction. So we've put some attention there. We're in the, right, we have two developers, one backend developer, and then Bunzy's doing our front end. Right, the goal is to get them to be full-time, and then to hopefully hire another developer too next year, pending successful sales of founder vaults, or, the vaulting program is very successful because people want to participate and you start generating more kind of fee revenue. But to me, kind of the reason I was so bullish on Emblem when I joined two years ago was that it reminded me of the great disruptor, or is kind of the great bundler, to where The technology itself is what you consider to be a token abstraction layer, where, kind of what these L2s are trying to be. It's called a chain abstraction, right? To where the idea is that it doesn't matter, what chain you're kind of interacting with. They try to abstract all that away. What Emblem does is it doesn't matter what blockchain the token's from. You can just have it on any chain, right? So there's really no other token abstraction layers products that I'm aware of that exists. It kind of just is a one-of-one product. I'm assuming more will come, but I've also been saying that for 2 years and haven't seen any signs yet. So with the token abstraction layer, you could kind of be the great disruptor and bundle kind of everything together to where, you have this chain agnostic marketplace where you can have any NFT live on any asset, purchasable in any type of cryptocurrency. And then you kind of have this NFT layer to where you can move these assets to any chain to then interact with any application that exists on that blockchain. And then on top of that, we call Emblem AI the kind of intelligence layer to where there's two products there. There's Emblem AI, the wallet, to where, you can give AI agents this ability to trade on any type of chain. But we'd also like to have a built-in LLM to Emblem Markets and Emblem Vision. That's what we're going to try to use Emblem or Agent Hustle for, the Tensorium project, to where you could just type into the LLM box, hey, I want to move Pepe to Merlin. Can you just do it for me? Kind of thing, right? So that would be like the ultimate kind of abstraction, to where you just type into almost like a Clippy kind of experience. Like, you remember that from back in the, in the day with the
Word program.
Word. Yeah. So it would, something like that with Agent Hustle from the Tensorium project. We'd like to do. You just type in the box and say, hey, move my 3 puppets in this wallet to Blast or whatever, and then it can be done quite quickly. So that's kind of what we're trying to build out with Emblem AI on kind of multiple levels. So the way that I see it is, this will be kind of like the end point here. I put this post out the other day. You have Emblem Vault, which is, if you think about it as a pyramid, you have like Emblem Vault, which is the bottom, the kind of technology layer. And then on top of that, you have Emblem Keys, right? And that's kind of the tokenomics token layer. And then on top of that, you have Emblem AI and the agent, which is kind of the intelligence layer. And if you can nail this pyramid down to where they all reinforce each other, it's going to be a very tough product to defeat, just because of you have the adoption initially of rare Pepe, right, which is a large collection. And you have this kind of idea that, 90% of assets that enter the ecosystem don't leave. And then you have the tokenomics layer with like the incentives, and the token is used to decentralize the protocol. And then you have kind of the AI layer to where then users don't even have to do any of this process. You can kind of just type in what you need to do. We believe that that's kind of a winning formula. Maybe that happens towards the end of 2025 or even extends into 2026. But we feel pretty confident that as long as, the expansion campaign goes well over the next 6 months or so, I think the value of keys will reflect that, which then, gives us funding to do that, and then continues kind of along this trajectory to becoming basically the interoperability layer of the crypto ecosystem, not just for NFTs.
Yeah. Shizzy, so would you utilize that for the bridging
yes.
portion? Okay.
Well,
so there we go. We
yes
found
and no. Well, hold on. So for me, I would need to do a lot of testing, right? Like I would first bridge a Billy Cat to Merlin, using the AI agent, right, and do that multiple times. I'd be so worried that the AI agent makes some type of blunder or something, to where I would need, probably 3 months of proof before I had it bridge over a puppet, right? Because something of that, something of that value. Have you guys noticed anything, maybe from other AI agents or anything, where things have gone wrong from using some type of MLM system?
I think like the AI agent space is still so new that people are still really experimenting.
Yeah.
Right. One of the ideas that we want to try out with our wallets is, giving the agent, funds to then, transact on its own kind of accord based off of the data that it's fed and now it's trained. One thing that Shannon's building with Agent Hustle and the Tensorium project is this idea of memory, which I don't think any of these AI agents have. that I've seen. Truth Terminal doesn't possess this yet.
Yeah.
Zerbro doesn't have this. I don't think many do. And so when we roll Agent Hustle out here, hopefully by the end of the year, maybe first week of
It's
January.
like 4 days away.
Yeah, I mean Shannon's been cruising on this, and he's been, again, we're kind of really blessed to have him. We're kind of blessed to have him, who's been building in the AI space for 10 years at this point. So he's constructed this memory in the back end to where when we roll it out, it's going to be on Telegram, to where users can have a private conversation with Agent Hustle, and then he will actually remember the things that you tell him, so that when you have a private conversation the next time around, he still remembers that information. So the idea here is that if this works, whenever you do something that's called an OAuth, so if you sign into Emblem Markets or Emblem Vision with your wallet, he ties all those memories to that wallet. So then he therefore knows everything in your wallet, and then can also then make suggestions on your behalf of like,
Wow.
hey, if you vault this Bitcoin puppet to Solana, there's a resting offer there for a Bitcoin puppet, which has a 10% premium to the resting offer on Ethereum or something like that. So you can start to, have these kind of like this like yield aggregation or optimization, so to speak. So we're all gonna.
Is he going to end every sentence with "not financial advice"?
Right, it is something to consider. So the cool part is, like, with the Tensorium project, it's really a lot of its experimentation to see what can be done. There's obviously a token that's associated with it because it's built off of that trend. But the goal would be to then fold that agent itself into the Emblem products to then make it as simple. Right now, it's to be determined. I hope, by this point in the summer, we'll have a little bit more clarity on how far the capabilities are for us. And then also with the industry itself, the AI agent industry now at a $10 billion market cap, it's pushing really fast because people are really antsy to figure out, what can be done and what can't be done. And we're excited to actually partner with like Butoshi to use our Bitcoin wallets to see kind of how the AI agent interacts with Bitcoin as well. Should be really interesting.
Yeah. That's awesome. You got a community member in here. The Medic X says vaulting and unvaulting can be stressful the first couple of times, but once you get used to it, it's easy peasy. And he's vaulted 30 rare and fake rare cards back to BTC. And the last thing he says is, don't work too fast on the AI. He needs more time to fill his bags before you make it that easy for Dormy. So he's obviously experienced with you guys. So that's awesome. Appreciate your comments there, Medic.
Yeah, Medic X is a very devout Rare Pepe community member who's gone back and forth. And it is terrifying. We are actually kind of pretty aware of that, right? Just this idea of seed phrases and private keys really, terrifies people who aren't familiar with the process. Realistically, how I just see it is if you just replace the word private keys or seed phrase with password, it's actually not that. It doesn't make it sound as scary, right? It's just like, oh, you gave me the password to this account, right? Like that doesn't sound as terrifying. It's just like the hexadecimals and the strings. So we are kind of working on that. There's some Emblem 2.0. There's some Emblem 2.0 features that Shannon has suggested that we could build once the time comes to basically even abstract that layer away. Again, it all just comes down to kind of like a resources thing, but it could not be more exciting. Emblem Vault's actually never lost. I say this very confidently. There's never been a lost asset that's in terms of, you got the wrong private key or, like it got swiped away or something like that. That's never happened. Emblem's never had a security breach before. Shannon was a security developer to begin, right? He was a security developer at Mastercoin in 2013 or 2012 and 2013. So we do have it locked down pretty tight. We have an audit that we're getting with Halborn that's kind of still in the process. And there's always, there are bugs and things like that. We generally have more front end bugs than we do kind of back end bugs. The large majority of it is front end bugs. But once you get, as Mathematic says, once you kind of get past, the initial tear and you go through the process once or twice, is really quite simple. Like we went through the Coval time lock process. It took, a minute or two to do that. And then unvaulting it You literally just hit unvault. It gives you the seed phrase, and then you just take the seed phrase and import it into MetaMask, and you're done. So there's ways to simplify that even more, and through the UX for the most part. And yeah, we're working on it. That's definitely the goal.
Love it, love it, love it, man. I love when you come on the show with us. I learn so much every time you jump on, man. Whether it's historic NFTs or counterparty tokens existed at some point. I'm always picking something up. But it's kind of the end of the show here. So any last words, I guess, for the audience on maybe what to expect next for Emblem before I let you go, or before we let you go?
So the next piece of the expansion campaign will be the delivery of the founder vault. So what that means is we took 20% of the key supply and we put it across 1,000 time locked vaults. And with these, we sold about 30% of that in kind of the private sale. And so those will be delivered here pretty shortly. And once that happens, that'll be something new to kind of experiment with and touch on. Essentially what we're doing is we're bringing, pre-sales or private sales basically on chain and in a transparent way. And so users, these keys will be locked until Bitcoin block 915,000, which I think is September 2025. These will be the only way that you can actually trade keys for the next 10 months, but you're trading them as an NFT on Ethereum. And this will be, I think, the best way to measure the value of keys, right? We're essentially also kind of taking on the private markets or the pre-sale markets, kind of like Whales Market and I forget these other ones, right? Where you could kind of trade the token before the airdrop. We're essentially, we're taking them on, we're taking the token investing, we're packaging it all into one NFT collection where you could trade these keys as NFTs for 10 months while they're or 9 months while they're locked up, and see where the value of that goes. And that will be our goal over the next 9 months or so, or I guess all through next year, is to, increase the value of those founder vaults, because that is basically the speculative way to, get a gauge on how the market is valuing these things. Because once that unlocks in September, that 20% will be the first 20% of keys to the market, to where you can actually trade that on chain. And then right after that, then you'll have the Coval time lock vaults unlock. So then you'll have 35% on the market after October of next year. And then in November, December, we'll be airdropping the remaining, 40% or so. So the goal would be by the end of next year, you're going to have 77% of the tokens trading in some way. And so we have different types of ideas about, how that'll go. But the founder vault will be kind of the crown jewel or the gem of this entire thing. And so the easy way to kind of purchase that. So the delivery of those should be here in the next week or two. We're getting to kind of the very end of putting that together. You can actually even see the collection on OpenSea if you just type in Founders Vault or Founder Vaults. I think it's Founder Vaults. The collection is there. The vaults haven't been delivered yet, but just to show that the collection exists with some of the art. We have Verdandi created the art for it. She's a 2017 female ETH NFT artist. She made some very awesome artwork. We have 5 different vaults of that type, of different elements that'll represent the different rounds that people participated in, that people could trade on, and then maybe have some ordinals and things at the end that people can participate. I highly recommend looking her up. She's called the Verdandi. She actually just sold one for 2017 ETH NFTs for I think like 5 ETH or something like that in auction. So she's very, very popular in the historical NFT community, and we're very excited to work with her. And so once those are delivered, I'll probably come back on here and we'll talk about the game theory. Talk about the game theory behind it. Maybe even bring Verdandi on or something to kind of talk about it and talk about that next level of what's happening here. That's what I'm most excited for, because then I can finally talk even more about some of the game theory and not just about what it could be, but actually talking about the market-driven data that is being provided to us.
Yeah. So just to be clear for the audience, these founder vaults and the Coval vaults, they're They're going to be tradable as NFTs on the Ethereum network through OpenSea from the end of this year till it's kind of like a pre-market of the emblem keys, which are actually runes, but you won't receive those unless you're a founder vault in September, and then the Coval vaults in October. Then they'll become Bitcoin runes. Basically, before that, it's going to be a tradable market, kind of like this pre-sale market on Ethereum OpenSea, correct?
Yep, exactly. Yeah,
Yep.
you said it completely well.
Yeah.
And the cool part here is that, you know, like these kind of pre-markets where you're trading points or whatever, like you don't actually have the token, right? So many things could change. Whereas like with the Coval time locks and with the founder vaults, they definitively have the token with them. It could be proven on chain. So you know how much is in here. It's not speculative. I mean, you could speculate on the value, but those tokens, those runes are there. And that what if you purchase one vault, you know exactly how much is kind of in there, at least for the founder vaults. So yeah, really exciting, really brand new. That this kind of stuff has never happened before. And we have some participants who are really bullish on the idea of founder vaults because they do think that this idea of bringing token vesting on chain and then tying that token vesting release schedule to a Bitcoin block to them seems like a no-brainer because now you're participating in the on-chain time economy. Some people use Bitcoin as kind of this universal clock versus like UTC.
Yeah.
And so being able to time a token release schedule to Bitcoin block is almost like tying it to like the grandfather clock. Like that's the universal time of the crypto industry. And so doing that in a provable way is exciting. Where the speculation goes, I think is going to be to be determined, right? That's the risk that we're taking from the Emblem side is we have no idea how people are going to respond to this. You know, maybe it takes a while for it to catch traction. Maybe it catches traction immediately, right? Or maybe people it's too confusing and people don't understand. You know, you guys were doing a good job of trying to explain all of that. And I do think once it clicks for some people, the simplification of it, a founder vault, I think is just the easier. It's a much easier narrative than the Coval stuff. So if you don't own a Coval and don't want to go through that process, I would say just pay attention to the founder vaults. That's really kind of the crown jewel of everything we're doing.
Yep. And for the 454 people listening in right now, you have to remember that on the side, like working simultaneously throughout like this pre-sale market, Emblem's going to be branding themselves on multiple Ethereum layer 2s, possibly, you know, obviously some Bitcoin layer 2s as well. So their name's going to be out there as the pre-market is going on next year up until the, in a sense, TGE, I guess you could say, for September and October.
TGE,
So that's the strategy. To me, I think that's a strong strategy because it will, you know, theoretically create that hype and you know, speculation during that time. So
yeah. And this is the coin of Hustle, right? So the Emblem Vault Keys is an AI coin technically because also Hustle is a part of what you guys.
Oh no, I think it's two separate.
So there's two tokens. I'll put it different. I'll kind of separate that real. So Hustle. So there's Agent Hustle, which is like the AI technology, and then you kind of have Tensorium, which is like the Tensorium project.
Oh, the Solana coin. Okay,
it's the Solana coin. It drives narrative and speculation to the agent itself. That's kind of like how this like AI space is working, right? It's kind of like with Cypher Genesis, you have the rune, and then you have kind of the agent. So you have the two separate things. And so with these with that space, it's now you have this like cool AI agent, and then it's how do you integrate the token within this overall project.
Gotcha.
With Emblem Keys, though, I could tell you this is, you know, if let's say, you know, Emblem, we're successful at deploying on all these chains, right? We're successful at deploying on, you know, a Base and Merlin and Abstract and Bitcoin and Solana, et cetera. And then on the other side of this, the Emblem AI product, which is a wallet, a multi-chain wallet, has a Bitcoin wallet, Ethereum, and Solana, which allows AI agents to integrate with it or use it through kind of an API backend. For that, Emblem is getting 1% of all transaction fees. And then on the Emblem side, it's $20 per vault that's being created. Keys would be the way that, you know, I'm going to use an example here, depending on, you know, what happens here with US regulatory environment. Yeah. If you could turn the fee generator on, right, and say, hey, you know, if you're staking your keys and you participate in validating or verifying the open source or more decentralized kind of Emblem v3 network, you'll get a share of all the vaulting fees, and you'll get a share of all the fees that are being generated on Emblem AI through all of these agents, right? So it could be quite lucrative if we do execute on the vision itself, and that's where keys will kind of have some utility. We do have a premium services vision for that as well. And then a yield and a decentralization kind of vision. Of course, there's multiple steps that we have to execute on. The Tensorium token itself is the token of Agent Hustle. It's kind of his token that his identity that he's going to use in different types of ways, which Shannon has we've been scheming on these different type of things. We're considering doing a portion of those airdrops to Tensorium holders who participate in this kind of vision. We'll see if that happens, as well as we have 15% of the airdrop, or we have 38% of our keys allocation is dedicated to airdrops. 15% of that is I guess it'd be so 15% total supply is going to the Coval migration. And then you have about 23% of that, which we have kind of open to incentivize with Bitcoin communities, Tensorium holders, kind of wherever that goes. But I would look at both of those tokens different, whereas keys is more of like the Emblem infrastructure and possible yield and decentralization, where the Tensorium token is more of the kind of speculative value of what the agent itself will use for that. And we do have ideas, but at the end of the day, it's still a very, very high risk kind of situation there.
Understandable. Gotcha. I forgot about the Solana coin. Yeah. Okay.
Solana people are crazy, man. Like we as my last point on it, we had been building Emblem AI for 2 months or so, kind of in the background. We deployed the token because what we've learned from Emblem is that if you're an infrastructure company, it's very tough to just release infrastructure and for people to participate. Generally, people need either some sort of co-marketing effort with another person, or they need some sort of token to ape into to kind of speculate on. So we launched Tensorium on the side anonymously to fuse them both together, because the best marketer of an infrastructure product is a token generally. And the degens in the trenches, when we put on pump.fun, figured out that Shannon had deployed it, even though we tried to do it anonymously, and they graduated the token within like an hour. So it was like one of, I think, 5 tokens of 40,000 deployed that day on pump.fun that, made it past the bonding curve.
Wow.
And so it's built its own community now. I highly recommend people to follow its Tensorium AI. There's like over 1,000 people in there. So now Emblem kind of has 2 different divisions. We have this like NFT interoperability division, and then we have this AI division. And as I mentioned, right, the pyramid of tech layer, token layer, intelligence layer, which is the AI. The goal is to kind of, form them all together in different layers. But, with the Tensorium token, could be really high risk. It's probably the highest risk, high reward of that like entire kind of vertical.
Yep.
Yeah. That is awesome. Well, Jake, it's been an amazing show with having you on. We thank you so much for educating not only us but the audience as well. And can't wait to do it again. We'll definitely set this up for once you get close to launching the vaults and everything as well. But we just wanted to say thank you and can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, appreciate the opportunity to always come on, boys. I always enjoy the conversation. Happy holidays, and probably next time we chat, it'll be 2025. So hopefully we start the year, pretty well
with a bang.
With a bang. And honestly, could not be more excited to move into 2025. Is finally somebody that's not just planning shit, but actually getting to execute on it. So bullish on 2025 for all of us.
Yeah, man, yes, bullish on Emblem Vault, definitely.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, see you guys.
See you, Jake.
All right, bye.
All right, man. Great show today. 2 hours and 18 minutes in. So it definitely changed my thought process on you know, on AI
agent.
agents and stuff like that. So especially when I can just use it to bridge, and I don't have to go to Stargate. I don't have to go to any of the bridges that I use now to bridge. Just actually having that. Yeah, that's something that I would use it for. I would definitely use it for bridging, because bridging is a pain in the ass. So.
Yep. And we got a stranger in the chat. Solana Chris says,
Oh.
I'm the galaxy. What was it called? The something monkey space
An
galaxy.
intergalactic monkey space odyssey.
Odyssey. There we go.
IMSO.
Loves us. Shout out to Chris, man. Miss you, bud. But yeah, we appreciate all 463 of you guys hanging out with us today. Oh, our guy Danny Boy was says GMGA. Yeah. Sorry, late. No worries, brother. But we thank you guys for hanging out with us. I know you guys learned something today because we had Jake on, constantly teaching you guys. But that's our hope. Every show is for you guys to take something, at least 1, 2, 3 things away from the show that you learned that you didn't know before. So. And if you do have some time, we ask that you check out our partners. We just went over Emblem Vault. Those guys are grinding and building great innovation, whether it's being able to bridge Bitcoin Layer 1 assets or create an AI wallet and agent. They are doing it. You can learn more about them at emblem.vision. And BetBTC is the predictions marketplace for the Bitcoin ecosystem. They utilize ICP and Bitcoin technology for you guys to be able to place bets on their marketplace. With the Xverse wallet and some Bitcoin, you can bridge it over with 6 blocks on the Bitcoin blockchain, and then you can start placing your bets that are Bitcoin related, sports related. They have it all. They will have a create your own markets feature very soon. Look out for that, because that's going to be the game changer. That's going to be the differentiator for those guys. You can learn more about them at betbtc.win. And then BitPerp is the leverage and perps DEX for the Bitcoin ecosystem. As Shizzy mentioned earlier, right now, if you place any testnet on Botonix transactions, your wallet address, as long as it's new in their system, will be entered for a raffle to win something. January 2nd is the date that they're targeting for that last testnet paper trading competition. You can learn more about these guys at bitperp.io. And then Fluid Tokens, the UTXO wizard devs is what I call them. They are building everything, relating to Cardano and Bitcoin, a bridge between the two. They're getting very close to launching their Fluid Tokens Rune, which will be a 1-to-1 to their Cardano token. But they have retail staking vaults. So if you're an ordinal, creator of a collection, or you deployed a Rune and you want your holders to be able to stake, reach out to Raul from Fluid Tokens. You can learn more about them at fluidtokens.com and click on the Bitcoin side if you're interested in those type of assets, the Bitcoin assets. And then Merlin Chain, your number one scaling solution for Bitcoin native L1 assets and protocols. If you're a builder on Bitcoin Layer 1 and you want your protocol to be a bit more flexible, you can apply for a Merlin Chain Builders Grant. They definitely will seriously consider you. It's not hard. It's not easy, but not super hard. A couple of our partners got in with that, but they have great builder support. Also, if you are a user and want something more that you're used to, if you're from the EVM side, they do have merlinswap.org that you can swap wrap BTC or Merl to go to the moon on merlinswap.org. Also, our integrated partners are Foxy, which is building the metaverse, the Bitverse on Bitcoin. They also have their first-person shooter game, which is called Clan Wars, as well as their bit miners that you can actually mine real assets, not real world, but digital assets. And then Ordinal Hive, which is the aggregator Ordinal marketplace. So you're going to be able to find the cheapest Ordinals on Ordinal Hive, Bitcoin Layer 1 or Layer 2 Merlin. Thank you guys so much for checking out our partners.
Yep. Great job there, man. You guys have a few more minutes. Check out ordinalrevolution.com. We have some of the best articles dating all the way back to last year. If you know someone just entering the space, send them our website. I feel like it can help them really get started and caught up to where we are today. Sorry, if you guys need a VPN, we have the NordVPN right here. 70% off coupon. Definitely check it out. If you do not have a VPN, even if it's not Nord, just get one. Just get a VPN. Do not be going through these web pages and stuff like that with your address, because they can eventually find you, and that's not good. We're Bitcoiners. We don't want people to find our address. And so just don't be giving away your IP address as well. Use a VPN, use Nord, 70% off right here. If you guys are going to Bitcoin 2025, Las Vegas, we will both be there. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be insane because everyone's going to be feeling really rich, guys. This is going to be the Bitcoin conference of all conferences. But get your tickets here at ordinalrevolution.com. Click the link. If you guys need some merch, it's hoodie weather, especially here in Philly. You guys want to get a hoodie, whatever you guys need. We have everything here, but I love the hoodies. Hoodies are great quality. You know, Chancellor on the brink of second bailout. That's the one that I bought. Love it. And you got the Seiko Hamster, the Bitmap, the Puka, the Gizmo, the Billy Cat, and so much more. I know we have a dog hoodie here as well. We got everything that you could possibly dream of. Check out everything at ordinalrevolution.com. And guys, we are live Monday to Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 4 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys. And on that note, we'll see you tomorrow.
Peace.
We OG, or no OG. You're not bullish enough, yeah. Oh no, you're not bullish enough. You ain't got the or no. I get stoned by the bolo. Bitcoin set to Olo, yeah. Experts on reload, yeah. You're not bullish enough, yeah. Oh no, you're not bullish enough. You ain't got the or no. I get stoned by the bolo. Bitcoin set to Olo. Experts on reload. Mempool getting hot. Everybody wanna rock, ayy. Rooms is coming, everybody on a knot, ayy. It's a nuisance, Ordinal Revolution, ayy. Ordinal Revolution. Yo, it's my guy for real, bro. Got friends right now. Yo, BRC 420, bro. Yo, that shit on fire, bro. Imagine if he in here. Yeah, like it in the steel. Murder. I got balls of steel. Nuki on the field. Yeah, this shit for real. With no calls, I get so far. Got 100 phone calls that I go hard, and they gon' love me. Smoke weed, huddle back. I get shiesty. Where my Bitcoin looking lovely. All this Satoshi's nothing above me.